podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.
Blueberry.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
The Big G, Tokyo Town, StompDown.
It's day number 2 of the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown, brought to you by Subject Cinema and Kaiju Corner. I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham. It's May 2nd, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have fun all month long,
Yes.
like we had fun with the Avengers last month. This month it's Godzilla.
Yes, it
because
is.
in honor of Godzilla King of the Monsters coming out on May 31st.
Yes.
Kim has been squeeing all month long.
Yes, I have.
And now that Endgame's over, she can turn her focus to the new Godzilla movie.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Very, 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 very excited. Tack on about 50 more berries.
We're up to number 2 in the franchise list. It came out in Japan in 1955. In America, it came out in 1958, I believe. Godzilla, or Gojira, Raids Again, directed by Motoyoshi Ota. And the co-star of this movie was a character called Anguirus, or Anguirus.
Anguirus, yes.
Which they ended up using in the title of the American version. No, that was the other one.
Yeah.
Gigantus,
Yes.
the fire monster, was used in the American version.
See, the thing was, as I mentioned when we kicked this series off yesterday, the people at Toho Studios figured they might have a hit, they might have a flop with Godzilla, with Gojira, so they gave it a shot. People loved it. And they were like, yay, we have a hit movie on our hands. Oh, crap, we killed him off. Because the audience went, more, we want more. And they were like, oh, bugger, now what do we do? Now, they actually did wind up giving themselves a bit of an out.
A slight bit of out in the Japanese version,
Yes.
which they cut out of the American version.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is, we mentioned, the elderly professor bringing up the fact that if human beings don't stop screwing around with nuclear energy, that there might be more Godzillas out there lurking, waiting to pounce on us and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, they were like, well, we'll take that line and run with it. And so we get Godzilla Raids Again. Now, like TC mentioned, when they brought this film to America, they decided, for some reason that I completely don't understand, to change the title to Gigantus the Fire Monster, and Godzilla became Gigantus, and it's just stupid.
Actually, the retitled version in America is Godzilla Raids Again. The original title in Japan was Godzilla's Counterattack. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit slightly different. But
yeah, you have to try and translate it as close as you can. I'm sorry, Gigantus the Fire Monster is just such a stupidly generic, lame, boring... I wouldn't go see a movie called Gigantus the Fire Monster. That just sounds dull. Sounds dull as dishwater.
Yeah.
The film itself, it's not bad. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot.
I actually like this one too.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it all the way through until Svengoolie ran it about a year ago, and it was really nice to see. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm. The thing about Godzilla in this film is the fact that, now, it's obviously this is a different Godzilla, because it would be very difficult to grow everything back after you've been reduced to a skeleton, and even the skeleton dissolves. Unless your name is Wade Wilson, I don't think you're coming back from that. Hashtag Marvel Comics joke. But as the professor had mentioned, there could be other Godzillas out there. Ta-da! Yep. So now we have another Godzilla, who apparently didn't go to the same dentist that the first Godzilla went to, because this Godzilla has horrible teeth. I mean, he does. I'm sorry.
Are you sure he's not British?
Oh my gosh, really?
Sorry, couldn't
Really?
resist. It's a stereotype. Couldn't resist.
No, we know he's not British because when all the ships and things showed up to kill him, he would have said, "Oh, behave."
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You wanted
Not
you,
even
you
going
went
there.
there.
Not
You
going
went
there.
there. You went there.
Not going there.
You went there.
No.
It's your fault.
No.
But seriously, I don't know. I mean, they changed the suit a little bit, obviously, because this Godzilla's teeth are just nasty. And I don't mean just like big and sharp and scary looking, which they are, which they were in the original.
They don't even make sense the way they're set up in the mouth.
It looks like, seriously, it looks like he's got this awful, I wouldn't call it an overbite, because all the teeth are sticks, so it's an everything bite. It's an overbite, it's an out there bite. I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like, okay, so we were trying to make him look meaner, I guess.
Well, I think they were trying to establish that it was a different monster.
It was a different Godzilla than the first movie. There were other things as well that, about this one that I was kind of like, what? The biggest thing to me was, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, did you think the head on the costume looked smaller?
I thought it was not as big as the first movie.
The head looked disproportionately small compared to the rest of the costume.
I don't know if I'd say disproportionately, but you could tell it was definitely smaller.
Yeah, maybe almost disproportionate. It wasn't like point and laugh disproportionate, but it was definitely something that you're kind of like, eh? And as you mentioned, this film introduces us to Anguirus, who is sometimes Godzilla's rival, sometimes Godzilla and he are buddies.
This was the first
surreal in later films
of the movies that introduced the idea of monster versus monster.
Yes.
And it would continue on forever.
Well, yeah.
From that point on.
Well, because it's fun.
I know.
I mean, let's be perfectly honest. I mean, it's not fun when you're standing there, but I mean, for the rest of us, it's fun. They made a big point of saying in the film that Godzilla and Anguirus, back when they were, giants that roamed the world and blah, 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 that they were hated enemies, and the second they saw each other, they'd try and rip each other apart, and apparently that hasn't changed, because that's the whole thing of the movie, that now you have this new Godzilla running around, and he's causing damage on his own, and then you have Anguirus, who's also, he doesn't seem to be causing as much damage until he and Godzilla see each other, and then it's fight, and knock everything down that's in the immediate area.
Right.
Like I said, I like this one. I mean, this is gonna sound like a weird way to put it. There's more humans in this one than there were in... The focus was more on the human characters than on
the
Godzilla.
Army and the government agencies that were trying to fight them.
Yeah, and the people that worked for the fishing,
the
fishing
which is
company.
where it first started.
And there's like this big love story that's going on, and it gets very tragic.
A couple of them,
end.
actually.
And the thing that I find really interesting is when you watch this film, and this is something that. Now, in case you hadn't noticed from all of the stuff that TC and I have done over the years, both of us can on occasion be a little bit nitpicky about things. Just a little. I bring this up because there are a couple of points in this film that are extremely jarring and shows that some people feel like one monster noise is fine and who cares.
They got the roars backwards in one scene.
There's one scene where...
And I don't blame you for being pissed off. That was stupid. That was
That's
sloppy.
lazy. That's
lazy.
Sloppy.
Yeah.
Oh man, it made me mad. It's just one of those things.
But remember, that's the American dub, not the Japanese one.
And the film ends with Godzilla being entombed in ice, which I was kind of like, what? The whole thing of it is that he's on this island, and he and Anguirus, their final fight is actually there's quite a bit of blood for a film from the 50s and a monster movie film that usually doesn't have a lot of blood when you think about it. There's a few scenes where there's biting and biting. There's a part where Godzilla's got Anguirus by the neck, and he's biting him in the neck, and there's blood dripping down. I mean, it's not as impressive when it's black. I mean, I shouldn't say impressive. That sounds terrible. But
Effects-wise,
it's actually startling. If you don't know what's coming, you're like, what? Whoa! They're not. It's not just fight. I'm going to get up and fight you some more. It's like these animals are actually causing each other, mortal damage.
Yep.
And eventually, Godzilla winds up winning, which. I'm kind of like, I don't know what would have happened if Anguirus had won, because Anguirus doesn't have like atomic breath. We're assuming Anguirus is not radioactive, because that's the other thing about Godzilla that people tend to forget.
He's radioactive.
He's insanely radioactive. So he doesn't have to step on you or squish you or anything else to do any damage. You could be standing maybe 6 or 7 blocks away from him, you might still wind up getting cancer. Because he's a walking nuclear reactor.
Right.
Which is really friggin' scary when you think about it.
Yep.
Not that Anguirus, like I said, I don't believe Anguirus has any breath weapons or anything like that. Because he really doesn't need any, because for the most part, he's this big, spiky, I don't know what the hell you'd call him.
He's a dinosaur version of a hedgehog.
He's like a big spiky armadillo hedgehog dog kind of crossover thing, fusion. I don't know.
He's goofy looking and he's funny as hell.
He is kind of goofy looking, and I always felt so bad for the costume actor that had to be inside that.
I mean, there have been other goofy looking monsters. Unfortunately, most of them came from really bad American films, like the giant claw. But no, he's goofy looking.
Well, I don't know. Well, he's
not in a bad way.
Well, my thing was like that. I always felt bad for the suit actor, because at least the actor who wears the Godzilla suit, at least they're standing up most of the time. Anguirus he walks on all fours, and he actually walks on his knees. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, you realize evolution would not do that.
Right.
I mean, that's just
credit
craziness.
goes to Haruo Nakajima as Godzilla, who did most of the movies until he passed away, and Katsumi Tetsuka as Anguirus. Also, this movie did include a cameo from Takashi Shimura, the legendary Japanese actor who played Dr. Yamane in the first movie, and of course he's all over Ozu and Kurosawa. He's like one of the all-time greats over there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so he was in this along with the rest of the cast, and it was a fun movie. I really enjoyed it when we saw it the first time. Although we both were sitting there going like, "That's how they're gonna kill him."
Yeah.
At the end of that's not gonna.
It was
really?
like, okay. The way they did it at the end of the film was that they were. I think I'm not sure they were trying to kill him. They were just trying to stop him.
Yeah, trying to stop him, but
which is what they did in Shin Godzilla, and it was like, why?
Yeah, but they didn't do it very classily.
No.
They've done it in a number of them, haven't they?
What, that?
Freezing it. Yeah.
Well, it works. I mean, for a while, anyway.
Yeah.
Because they have
radioactive.
Yeah. Well, they have this whole scene at the end of the film. Well, their whole thing is that this is a reptile.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I kind of think
Godzilla...
But
it's not. It's an amphibian.
He's an amphibian, yeah.
Because he lives underwater and above water.
Yeah. Well, he can live underwater. We don't know how long he can hold his breath. That's the thing. He may not. He may have... Well, he may just come up to the surface and go... And then go back down again for 10 years or whatever. I don't know. You don't know. It's just, I'm sorry I've caused an episode. So, the end of the film, Anguirus is dead. Godzilla's like, oh, great, now I can wreck stuff on my own. And the military and the people that have these planes that aren't in the military, they're actually part of this fishing conglomerate. They, use the planes to, search for schools of fish and stuff like that. They come up with this idea, Godzilla's on this island again that is this big ice floes and all this stuff like that, which is where they found him the first time. So they keep shooting at him and also the ice towers around him. He basically
gets buried in ice from the glacier.
Yeah, and they plant explosives and they run like hell and boom, boom, boom. And Godzilla winds up buried up to about there. Because he's not buried beyond his head. At least I don't think we see that.
At the end we do, yeah.
Do we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we do. Yeah. So he's buried in the ice, and I think they assume that's going to send him into a coma.
Freeze coma
because he's cold. He'll be too cold.
Right.
And that's the end of the film.
Right, yeah.
Which is really interesting because that leads directly into the next film.
Yeah.
They actually kept that thread going, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, the next film, which is one of Kim's guilty pleasures, is not one of my favorites.
Nope.
I can't stand it. And we'll talk about it tomorrow on the Big G, Tokyo Down, StompDown, as we head to back to Japan with a visitor from Africa via New York.
Well,
right?
no, not really.
Well, no, but he was in New York for a while.
Yes, he was.
King Kong versus Godzilla tomorrow. Until then,
I'm Kim Brown.
I'm TC Kirkham.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Big G Tokyo Town StompDown from Subject Cinema, Kaiju Corner at eCinemaOne.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
Podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.
PNR.